Hello and welcome everybody to our top 8 deck profile of Threehan. Yesterday we had a regional in Düsseldorf. Apparently this weekend everybody had regionals, like I think there was one in Brazil, there was one online regional, and maybe there were some more, I forgot. So enjoy the spam of top 8 deck profiles, deck list, whatever there is. So this regional was pretty small. We were like 31 people, 32 people, so exactly 5 rounds cut. It's a little bit sad that we didn't were more people. However, I can totally understand that prices regarding flights to Germany are always a little bit of a hassle. Düsseldorf is not like one of the most cheapest city you can stay. So yeah, I'm still quite happy that many people showed up. It was a really nice group of people playing there. It was for me like the best regional experience I ever had, like by far. Everybody was friendly, the location was really awesome. Shout out to Alibaba for hosting that event. It was a nice location, bright light, accessible toilets, food and drinks you could get there. And like I said, like every game I had was just like so friendly, so nice people I played against. It was a pleasure. It was really a pleasure. So, why did I show up with Threehan? I love the deck, and as you have may seen in the stream from Damien and Peter Dance, they also recognized me as the only one being crazy enough to even play this deck. This was my first ever deck, and I still love it, and I still try to tune it. I'm also apparently pretty good with it. At least my results for this deck are pretty well. Like I think 2 top 8s, multiple top 16s, 1 win. I just love this deck. So for everybody who does not know what the deck does, basically it's a completely unique way to play the deck. You always dump hand, you never go above 3 energy. It's a blue aggro deck, which at the time the deck came out, blue was not known for being an aggressive color. Yes, there were some decks like SS2 San Gohan also being pretty aggressive, but this was very unique. And so this deck basically uses all the cards other blue decks find trash because they don't give enough values to other blue decks, and I just turn them into something awesome. So let's go over the deck list. First off, just some staple cards, Pan and Piccolo. Everybody who ever played this card game probably knows these cards, especially around the BT19 era. You can basically discard the Piccolo to play a Pan off deck for 1-drop, so you can see what you have in your deck. Where's your secret? Where are your super combos? Where are the cards you sided? Are they in your life or are they in your deck? Pretty useful ability. Also, he's a 20k dual attacker who also plays a Pan, so filtering in this deck is like pretty important to see your important pieces. Then we have 4 times the SS3 Son Goku compared to the last time I topped with this deck. And there was a deck profile of it. I'm not sure. This has been a new addition. Basically, he works pretty well with this deck because the deck has a Z leader. You want to go down to 3 lives to go to the Z leader. So if you're stuck on 4 life, you can self-awaken. Even better, if you're stuck at 6 life and you want to awaken without playing a Z battle card, you can go down to 5 lives and then play something more and then awaken without having the need to play the Vegeta Z battle card. And obviously you can add him to a C energy, so you automatically gain back an energy because of your leader ability, draw 1, discard 1, which is pretty good if you have some cards stuck in your hand. So this card felt like it was made for Threehan in some way, because all 3 abilities are good for that deck. Then we have 4 6-drop Oops, a card nobody's playing because it's locked to Earthling and Margin, and most likely the leaders you are playing are either full Saiyans, not hybrid Saiyans, or something else. Yeah, regarding this, same thing with the Goku. He's a Self-Awakener, which is pretty good for your Z leader. He's also like removal, which is unique. You might know this removal from the 8-drop Oop, so he does not bottom deck something. He also does not return something to your hand, but he Z-charges a card. So especially for the green counter card against blue, this is pretty good to get rid of it and then clear the board of the opponent. Also, at the end of the turn, it goes under your opponent's leader. I tend to forget it there forever. If you watch the stream, there was a scenario, I put the Oop under his leader, and then I forgot it for the rest of the game. Which is not bad for him, but bad for me, because it comes back at the beginning of your next turn, so he's another 20k attacker your opponent can't get rid of, which is pretty good. Then 4 times Rosé. This card is just nuts in this deck. I love to play it in turn 2 even, if I already have like 3Z energy, and then have this 20k double strike swing, dump your whole hand, getting your opponent down to 3 or 2 lives. It feels so rewarding, it's just so good. He's also a really good defensive piece to catch your opponent off guard. If he swings with a 4 cost or less, like most Z-Battle cards for example, they just vanish, and then you have another 20k double strike buddy out for your next turn. Pretty awesome card. I also like the alt art for that card, which came out in the anniversary box 2023. Awesome. Then we have the 6-drop Gotenks. This is a card I dropped a while ago, and I played around with the Demon Realm core in Threehan, because you can play Arinsu, you can play Pansy, together with the Android 1718 Unison. You can even play Bulma, Dende, you can play the new Versus card, which will come back in a minute too. And there's so many things you can do basically with that card. It's just so good. However, I found that having 25k dual attacker turn 2 is so good that I dropped the whole Demon Realm part again, because this card was too good. And also, the whole regional, I could see people struggling with this card, because if this one comes down in turn 2, most people can't really respond to it. And it's like 25k dual combo out of that shit in turn 2 or turn 3. It's really nasty. Afterwards, you never play that card. However, it's just there for the pressure at the beginning, and it's important that the pressure is there, that your opponent can't combo out that easily. Also, if that card sticks on the board, it's so good. Then we have 4 times Broly, also a fairly new addition to the last time I topped with this deck. You can play it out in turn 2. You can swing 35k if you wanna. Nobody is doing something with it. With you, you can also bottom deck a card, so he's a generic early removal as well. There's the X-Evolve ability when you want to get off like the restanding twice, for example. So you can play him for 2, swing with him. Then use the ability to bottom deck something, restand him, another 35k double strike. And then X-Evolve for 1, restand, another 35k double strike with the bottom deck as well. So he's pretty good aggressive piece in this deck as well. Then we have a new addition, the Versus card. So when the Versus cards were revealed, I was like, this is the best Versus card ever. Not because of the counter-attack part. We don't care about that. Blue has enough defensive options. But for 2 reasons. First, it's 25k. Everything in blue is very... How would I phrase it? Koitsukai sucks for blue, because all floodgates blue have are 20k or less. The only floodgate I figure which is 25k is the Gohan brainwashed one, which has 15k in servant and therefore is 25k immediately. But this costs 3. This is just a 1 energy redirect negate with 25k, so it doesn't get hit by Koitsukai, which is very huge. Also, and this is the most important part for my deck, it's for 1 energy, a deflect double strike card, if my opponent has 3 or more energy. So you can just play it for 1 in your turn, and then you have a 25k double strike out of nowhere. This card is really good against green, because green tends to hide behind dormant. And just playing this for 1 energy without needing to do an activate battle, to play a Rosé, or paying 2 energy, immediately use the Broly ability to get double strike, is pretty huge. And then afterwards you play and you just dump hand and then do the rest, and then I'm pretty sure you're up 35k, 40k, whatever you have in your hand. So he's a great card. He's also a great card defensively if you want to get out of a huge string, right? Because I don't like to play extra card in this deck. I don't like to play floodgates in this deck, because it just feels wrong to use an energy for that. Whenever I put in defending friends, it feels so wrong, because my opponent has enough cards anyways. My opponent is not doing many swings, but oftentimes huge swings, and this is the problem for me, not the many swings. Alright, then a card that will always overperform, as you can see in the stream, the best floodgate I could have imagined, and it's pretty important to have such a floodgate for this deck. You can play it in your opponent's turn or in your turn for 1 energy, you can swing with it and afterwards place it in your drop, and then your opponent can't attack with battle cards unless they place a 2 cost or less from their field under their deck successfully. This is pretty important, because they can't place barrier cards at the bottom of the deck, because they need to choose, and it's my effect. They can't place the battle cards under the deck, because they don't go to the bottom of the deck successfully. Unison and leader swings are free. This is why the card is dropping a little bit at the moment in value because there are so many Z unisons that can restand. There's so many leaders that sometimes swing twice. However, you don't need to feel like a 35k father-son solidarity swing, for example, if you have this Floodgate live most of the time. That being said, your opponent can still pay 1 energy to play 1 drop, then bottom deck that swing with a boss monster. However, this rarely happens because it's very energy expensive, and most of the time I still get out of that. Then we have our combo cards, because you never wanna lose your combo cards. All of these 3 cards are 10k combos. 4 times 10k, 2 times 10k, 4 times 10k. This card reduces itself if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, which is always live after turn 2. This also, if you have 5 or less cards in hand, when this card is used in a combo, this card gets 5k combo power for the battle. Important for this card is live when you have 6 cards in your hand and you combo her from your hand. Because of the time she hits the combo area, then you have 5 or less cards in your hand. So she gets a 5k push and is 10k. It's different for this card. For this card, you need to have 5 cards in your hand, counting her as well. So this card is live earlier, which is why I use this 4 times and this just 2 times. However, this card is really good against something like Pilaf, Shu, and Mai, because it's a 1-cost combo card in your combo area, because it only reduces itself in your hand. So a nice little party trick to get your Z energy going. And this is the best super combo for this deck. I stress it so much. I see people playing the Goku 1, bottom decking 1, draw 2. You are also wrong. I'm really sorry. I tested every super combo. Just denying a leader swing, just denying another battle card swing, just if they don't block with their blocker token, just to rest that, to put out more aggression. It feels so great. It feels so good. When the deck is lacking something, then it's defense, and this card gives you defense, it gives you offense. And let's be honest, we don't care about drawing in this deck. As you can see, none of these cards are really drawing when they're getting played. The only exception is this one. The rest doesn't draw and play, doesn't draw and play, doesn't draw and play, doesn't draw and play. Comes down if you're playing a pan, but itself doesn't draw and play, doesn't draw and play, doesn't draw and play. You don't care about that shit because you're drawing 3 immediately. I know what you're saying, but I want to draw more because I want to see my secret, and maybe you're right. But I feel like playing it a little bit more safe and not like relying on your luck is better than like cycling and hope you see something useful. So this super combo is always overperforming at every event I'm playing. I highly recommend playing it. Then we have the combo duo. This is just nice, sitting in your Z energy. Dropping 1 hand card, using 2 cards from your drop in a combo, and then play him, draw 1, done. Really good, just sits there in a Z energy, and when you need the final push, or if you're in a really struggle, you activate this effect and then you're good. Obviously, secret of choice, I don't have to talk about this, right? It's made for the deck. It's the perfect card you have for the deck. You can restand your Broly, you can restand your Z-Leader, which we'll come to in a second. You can restand your Gotenks, you can restand him, you can restand 2 energy, you can restand your Unison. It's a crazy card. And then 3 times the Unison. This Unison is only here for yellow and green matchups because they are still reliant on you having 3 or more energy most of the time. Especially yellow will floodgate your battle card swings or your leader swings, depending on if there's a riposte or if there's something else. Also, it has a really nice synergy with the leader. Like you combo from your drop with a blue card and then you Z-charge the blue card and you get back an energy for free without needing to invest a card from your hand. Coming to the Z deck, pretty simple. We have 3 times the Z leader. You can use it offensively, you can use it defensively. 3 feels right. Oftentimes I use it 2 times offensively, 1 times defensively. And if I don't have won the game or lost the game at that point, then it's over anyways, so it doesn't matter. Then we have our awakening conditions if I don't go down to 5 lives through my opponent's swings. This is just here for the nice little barrier effect. We totally ignore this part. There is a nice synergy, but we totally ignore it usually because it's like, it's an all-in where so many things can happen. It never feels right to do this or to set this up. And then we have the Vegeta if we know that nothing can happen if we play the Vegeta. So there's no black counterplay, there's no anything counterplay. Yeah, it's better. And yeah, it's also good to save a card for the next turn. You want to charge maybe Unison or something. Then we have the Beerus, we have the Android, we have the Cell, and we have 2 times the extra. Nothing ordinary here. I sometimes play Cell against white boards in turn 2 if I have the marker. I sometimes play her in turn 2 when I have the marker. As you also seen on stream, because the ±0 is cool, the double strike is cool, over Unison 20k is cool. Everything is cool about her. And he is here for barrier targets, especially against... I don't even know which deck, to be honest. I played it round 2 against Giovanni. Wasn't my best choice to play him, but it's always nice to have some nice options in your Z deck in case you don't have any other answer on your hand right now. Then side deck. I think this is the most important part. You now have an idea on the Threehan engine I'm currently playing. I wouldn't change a thing, by the way. Maybe add 1 or 2 overrealms, but that's about it. And I don't even know what I would drop, to be honest. We have 3 times the East Kai. Why East Kai and not Koitsukai? It's because of Arinsu. Arinsu, I really love Arinsu as well because it plays pretty similar, but Arinsu has like 2 main problems. First, she has no removal at all. There's 1 card that returns everything back to hand. Cool. You need to make -1 in hand, -1 on field for that. And there is like the 6-drop Ku who also just bounces back to hands. The rest, it's shit. Maybe the Android 18Z Unison, but you most likely want a ±0 to get back an energy and to bottom deck a card from your opponent's hand. There's the Broly 8-drop, but it's really expensive for Arinsu to play that. So this card most likely will stick on the board for 2 turns, 3 turns. If you get her out turn 1, and your opponent is trying to do the cycle with I play Goma, activate battle, then I play a 3-drop from drop, and then I use my leader ability to recycle Goma to my hand, play 6-drop from drop, he's losing 3 cards in hand. Because this is not a once per turn, but this happens always. Also, she's better than Koitsukai, in my opinion, against Arinsu. Because, like I said, it sticks on the board. And if he's playing a hedge, he's also bottom decking 1. If he's playing a versus negate, he's also bottom decking 1. So it's just about playing battle cards and not about playing battle cards with a specific amount of power or something. So she was overperforming against my Arinsu matchup. Then we have 3 times Heavenly Wizard Demigra, just here for Great Saiyaman. This deck lacks barrier removal. This is something I'm always bothered about. I would wish for the deck to have a boss monster, 2-cost on play, ignoring barrier, bye-bye. But this could also result in the deck being too strong. However, I think people will never like this leader because it feels so different from every other deck. Because in most decks you want to keep your hand, right? You want to keep your hand, you want to see what is happening, you want to respond to everything. In this deck there is no option of having 1-offs or 2-offs. It doesn't make sense because you will never see them at the right time. It also feels like you're doing Russian roulette every round because you're like shooting everything you have and then you're drawing 3 new cards and then you need to make quick decisions. So this deck is pretty difficult to pilot, I would say. However, it feels pretty rewarding if you're in the loop, basically. And this is for Great Saiyaman, most likely. It's also nice against black. However, I see most black decks dropping the 6-drop Vegito because Great Saiyaman also just blanks it and then it's gone most of the time. All too easy. It's against red, the SS4 Vegito secret most of the time, because I can activate it from my drop. So I can basically use this card and place it in my drop and it will always stay there. I can also drop it off of my SS3 Son Goku preparing for battle effect. It's pretty cool. However, it feels kind of clunky. I don't know if I like this card a lot. To be honest, it never came up. It always feels kind of nasty. This is the problem with extra cards. Then we have 2 times the Masu counter, a great card. I would always use it. The secret to this card is to make this your last swing in a turn. Because if you're playing against Red Saiyan, they will most likely respond against blue, especially with a imposing presence. And if you swing with him and they are doing an imposing presence, you can't swing anymore because you just floodgated yourself to hell. So the secret to this card is to play it at the last card of your turn and make it the last swing of your turn. So you're pretty sure that if they want to throw an imposing presence, it doesn't matter. And if they already did throw an imposing presence, you can still play him and then just pass, because getting rid of that card is pretty difficult for red decks. They need to play then the Sangoku Rapid Reversal, the SS4 one, and most likely this is not their optimal playline. Then we have 2 times Tapion. We have an Aegis Gogeta player in our team who is always not doing that well at regionals, but he's always coming here with Aegis Kukicha, and I don't want to lose to that secret, so this is the only reason why that card is here. 1 times Black Smoke. Most green players are pretty stupid creatures. I'm really sorry for you guys. They often just play a Unison, out-tap themselves, especially in turn 2, and then be like, well, nothing can happen, Hand of the Demon God isn't live, nothing will happen anyway, and then I just drop this bad boy and win the game. Like I said, I don't like Dormant Potential at all. I think it's a very old card that has some wild implications for the future, because Bandai needs to be very careful on designing green cards. And at the moment we see Tianxin Han being a blocker, the new 6-drop Goku being a blocker. Then we have the SS2 Gohan from the last set being a blocker. So I think we are now crossing the point on where is Dormant the fair card when we look at the amount of blockers green have. I'm not sure, maybe, yeah, it's difficult. But this is just one copy for the green matchup to catch them off guard. And then 2 times Decisive Strikes. It's a love-hate relationship I have with this one. It feels always wrong to draw into that. I never have it live at the right moment in time. I know there's a new counterplay for blue, the Pan one, but it also doesn't feel right because I need to have a Unison out, and yeah, I don't know if I keep this card in my side. Begrudging Allies is also an option, but yeah, I don't know. Whenever I draw into that card, I can't get it off. I just wish there was a blue Bujin, just a 5k combo card, just a 1-drop, hitting a 2-cost or less. This is everything I would wish for, because having these extra cards in this deck feels off. Yeah, this was the deck. Talking about the matchup. Round 1 was against Darian, a teammate of us, playing Red Pan. This was the only game I went first, the only dice roll I won throughout the whole tournament, and the game went perfect. I did see my secret turn 3, I pressured him down to 2 lives I think turn 2, I floodgated him twice, so when he went into his 3rd and 4th turn he couldn't really attack. He didn't see his secret, but it wouldn't have made difference to be honest, because like I said, Floodgate was live, Pan is not playing 1-drops, so it's very difficult for her to swing. And so I was like securing that game pretty easily. I think this was my most easy matchup, not because it was Darian, but because everything aligned perfectly. And then everything fell down. I lost every single dice roll in every single matchup, and I just saw my secret once throughout the whole tournament. Round 2 was against Giovanni Casterman, the winner of the tournament. Huge shout out to him, it's always a pleasure playing against you, talking to you. I think especially the UK T-2 bubble are so friendly and nice guys. Huge shout out to you. Yeah, it was a pretty interesting game. I think at the end he was at 2 live. I was putting out a lot of pressure. I could have went all in my last turn. However, I figured like if he has a secret, the Gohan Piccolo one anyway, he was on Nova by the way, there's no way I would have won, and he had the secret in hand. I didn't see my secret. Maybe it would have changed something. I'm pretty confident it would have, because he would have went down to 1 life, and then I could have swung twice with Beast. I was under the Vegito Floodgate. However, Beast is being able to restand 2 things, so there were like 2 more swings at least coming towards his end. It would have been really close. Really, really close. Secret was my last card of the deck, by the way, so there was no way I could have seen that card. Whatever. Round 3 was against Arinsu. Like I said, this card overperformed. Was a really nice player, and this is true for every player I played against. They were so nice people. This was the most fun tournament I had in a while. It was just great. This card overperformed. He needed to bottom deck so many cards. I was also bottom decking his 6-drop redirection stuff, so he couldn't like replay that out of his drop, and then at the end he was like at 1 card in hand, and I was still like recycling or filtering, drawing 3 cards. I was also not seeing my secret, but it didn't matter in the end. Round 4 was on stream against Margin Vegeta. Maybe you saw that round. I again didn't see my secret, but he didn't see as well. So it was a nice game. I floodgated him constantly. I put out pressure. I stayed on 2 energy, so he couldn't play his boss monsters. And yeah, at the last turn he forgot his floodgate. Even if he remembered, there was nothing he could really do. Maybe play another Z Unison, but I'm pretty sure he didn't have one because he wasn't playing another one or thinking about playing another one. So this was pretty over, I think. And then in the last round, I played against Bruno Milano. It was a pretty close match. We both saw our secrets, which is cool. So this was the second time throughout the whole tournament I saw my secret. I was able to put out a lot of pressure. However, I again went second. Going first against Vegeta feels like they can't do shit, because most likely they use a super combo, which is live at 5 lives if they have a U7 leader, but their front side is not a U7 leader. So I think I could have easily pressured him down to 3 to 2 lives. And as I've seen my secret in my starting hand, this would have been over. However, getting second was a little bit difficult. I was able to play around his Z Battle card, which was pretty good, with my 6-drop Oops, self-awaken that way. But yeah, I couldn't... First, I couldn't set up a floodgate for his 4th turn, and then he saw his secret. I think it was 1 out of 3 cards in his hand. I did also see my secret, so I'm not blaming luck or anything, but I couldn't keep it up. The triple strike was too much. The quadruple strike from the SS4 Vegeta would have also been enough. I think a floodgate would have been really nice there, but I wasn't seeing one. At the end of the day, I went 3-2. I just went to the tournament to have fun with no expectations. The last 2 times I came here with Pan Xeno, one time being 27th place, one time being top 16, which was cool. But this time I just went here with fun deck, because I was like, I want to have fun again. I don't want to stress out too much on topping. I don't care about that, because I was slowly losing fun because of the topping stress and trying to prove something to myself. And this was the most fun tournament I had, with the biggest success I had this year. No matter the size of the tournament, right? It's like, it was so good, it was so much fun. I had so nice opponents. So maybe sometimes playing the deck you really love is worth so much more than just playing the best deck in the format or the deck you think you are the best with. And you sometimes even make better results, right? So whatever deck you love or you like, please play that deck. Put your heart into it. I think last night there was a yellow slug winning. So this just shows, especially in this meta, if you put love in your deck, if you put thought in your deck, then your deck will most likely be better than all of the meta. Because your opponent doesn't know what you're doing, but you know what you're doing, and you probably know what your opponent is doing as well, right? That being said, I wish you all a wonderful rest of the weekend or week or whatever you're doing right now. If you have any questions about the deck, about deck choices, about cards, I probably tested them already and can tell you my honest opinion about them. See you guys.